DAS players or providers. Who are the usual suspects in DAS industry? I'm going to refer to them as players. Easiest way to look at these players or companies is to group them at a high level by their function. To build a DAS, we need signal source, materials, and DAS equipment and related services to bring this all together. With that said, we have four common players in the DAS industry. Signal source providers, number one. Number two is equipment or materials providers. Number three is service providers. And number four, build to suit companies. One disclaimer here is that I will focus on the companies that are active in the US because I'm more familiar with them. I assure you, there are a lot more companies outside the US who, although may not be very active in the US, make significant contribution on a daily basis to the industry. Now let's drill down into them. Signal source providers. When we say signal source providers, we are actually talking about wireless service providers or carriers or operators. These guys own frequencies to broadcast signals. They don't actually make the signal source, but without their permissions, you cannot broadcast signal in their frequencies. Four major operators who are quite active in DAS are in alphabetical order: AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, and Verizon. I'll also add two other carriers that are well known, although not quite active in DAS. They are Metro PCS and US Cellular. As I said, operators usually don't manufacture the equipment that produce the signal. Companies who make these radios for signal source are commonly referred to as OEM. OEM stands for Original Equipment Manufacturers. For radio-based signal sources, well-known manufacturers in US are Alcatel-Lucent for base stations or small cells, Airspan for small cells, Ericsson, Nokia, and Samsung for both base station or small cells. Note that I have put them in alphabetical order. Operators often use a specific OEM for a market or region. So for example, in Texas, Sprint provides signal source from Ericsson if they're using base stations. For a small cell, they may use Nokia or Airspan. Although we have focused on radio-based signal source here, there are several OEMs for repeaters, notably ADRF, GST, and also Cobham Wireless, etc. Equipment providers. I'll break down DAS equipment and materials providers into two groups. By the way, by equipment providers, I mean DAS equipment providers. DAS electronics manufacturers and manufacturers or suppliers are all other passive materials. Well-known OEMs in the US are, in alphabetical order, ADRF so far manufactures DAS 2.0 platforms and also makes repeaters DAS 1.0 for regular DAS and also public safety DAS. CommScope has products in both DAS 2.0 and DAS 3.0. In the past, CommScope has purchased several other well-known DAS companies, notably LGC Wireless. Corning purchased Mobile Access. So when we talk about Corning DAS, we are also talking about Corning Mobile Access DAS. Corning has also purchased SpiderCloud in 2017, a small cell OEM, and has a robust portfolio of DAS gears. JMA Wireless has a good presence in DAS 2.0 platforms. Another reputable DAS OEM is Solid, with various products in DAS 2.0 and DAS 3.0. Solid was one of the first companies to integrate public safety DAS into cellular DAS. Few other platforms also active in this category are BTI Wireless. Cobham acquired Axel, which has DAS gear in both cellular and public safety, Dali Wireless, and ZenWave. This is by no means an exhaustive list. The landscape of the DAS OEMs are changing every year.